Hey, discerning listeners, Ultimatum Queer Love Season 2. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. This is the Psychology in Seattle YouTube channel and podcast. And I want to remind everyone, I'm sure you don't need a reminder. I have a itch on my nose. That's not what I wanted to remind you of. I wanted to remind you of don't bully any of the cast members. And if you can, push back on anyone who is bullying any of the cast members. You know, you can talk about things, you can talk amongst yourselves, but to actually go to their Instagram or whatever, or to get exaggeratory online about speculation, or to come out against these people in a very aggressive way is harmful. It's immoral. It's wrong. It's often short-sighted. It's often misdirected, displaced issues of yourself. You know, you have an ex who treated you badly, and so you see someone on reality TV. You know, take care of yourself, and that's the point. But we should not be bullying. And if we can change the culture and be a force for good against the bullies, that would be great. Let's change the internet culture one step at a time. Let's watch.
Pilar, who do you choose?
I choose Kyle.
Okay, interesting. So both Kyle and Bridget were connecting with Pilar, and there was a bit of a narrative around Pilar liking both members of the couple, right? And so Bridget and Kyle were saying things like, it's kind of weird to be dating someone who is also into my ex-partner. There's some weird feelings going on there, but it's natural to happen in this experiment or this format. And Pilar had her choice between Kyle and Bridget, seemingly, although I'm not sure, because they didn't really ask Kyle and Bridget if they had other people they were connecting with. But anyway, so we have Pilar is declaring for Kyle. So I guess we need to hear from Kyle if Kyle will declare for Pilar.
Kyle, who do you choose?
I choose Pilar.
Okay, so taking notes along the way, we got Pilar and Kyle. Pilar is a ultimatum receiver. Kyle is an ultimatum giver. Kyle and Bridget have only been together a couple years, whereas Pilar and Haley have been together for 10 years. It's hard to imagine Haley and Pilar having any effect from the ultimatum. Or it's hard to imagine that they won't be together after the show, after this. It seems highly likely that at the very least they'll still be together after the show. But who knows? But with Kyle and Bridget, yeah, I could see them being together after the show too. Marita and Ashley seem like they've already broken up. Dana and Megan, there's some red flags there, as I've already been over. Marie and Mel, hard to say there. Britney and AJ, that one's kind of hard to tell too. They've been together for 5 years, but they seem to have come to the show with a fair amount of tension around moving forward. But anyway, so we got Kyle and Pilar.
Okay. So, did you connect with anyone else?
Ashley, I feel like we both feel like we came out of left field for each other.
So, as is often the case, it's the pot calling the kettle black, in that Bridget was accusing AJ of being inauthentic and fake and game playing when it comes to choosing. And the way it was edited, it looked like Bridget actually was doing that. During the dating scene at the cocktail hour, went to Ashley. I don't know if anyone seemed to be doing that. It seemed like Bridget was. Not, and I don't even think it's a bad thing, is a thing. I think it was the smart move and isn't even necessarily unhealthy or something. But Bridget at some point started to realize, oh, the women that I'm into are into other women. So what if they don't choose me? She even said that, I think, in an interview to the camera. And so she's like, okay, well, and I think it's just, she didn't say this, but it looked to me, and this isn't a bad move. It's smart. And it's potentially going to help everyone, that Bridget was like, I don't think Ashley is connecting with anyone. And so I need Ashley as a backup, because because I think she had decided, I don't want to be with AJ, but I do want to be with Pilar, and I don't know who Pilar is going to choose. What if Pilar chooses Kyle, my former partner? I need a backup. So I did have some connection with Ashley, and so I'm going to try to get that going just in case. Again, nothing wrong with that. So it's interesting that Bridget was accusing AJ of something that it kind of looked like what Bridget did. Again, no fault in that. That's what I would do if I were on the show and I was into two women and it seemed like they were into other women. I'd be like, oh crap, what if neither of them choose me? Marita, for example, should have done that. She should have been with, when she's into AJ, she should have seen that AJ's in other people. What if she doesn't choose me? I better date other women. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that.
Ashley, who do you choose?
I'm going to choose Bridget.
Okay, so we got Bridget and Ashley.
I choose Dana.
Surprised by that, actually. I thought, given what happened last night between Dana and Mel, that Mel would choose Britney. Although we didn't see much of Mel and Britney bonding. But anyway, so both Dana and Britney declared for Mel, and Mel chose Dana. Okay. Well, I'm actually selfishly happy about that, because I'm curious as to what sort of dynamic is going to develop. Because I think with Dana and Britney, I don't know, it sounds funny to say, but I think that Mel presents more opportunity for triggering for Dana. But maybe not. I can't tell what's happening, right? There's just minor indications of something, maybe given an edited show. They're under a lot of stress. So we'll see. But I'm really curious. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the trial marriages. Who am I the most curious about? Yeah, definitely Dana and Mel. I'm going to be like, every scene, I'm going to go, what's happening?
Why I was so drawn to pick you.
Well, wait. So we still have Marita, right? And who else has not been chose? Is it Bridget? No, Bridget and Ashley. Marita and who am I missing? I'm looking. Haley, Britney. Yeah, right, Britney. So Marita and Britney, did they connect at all? I don't remember that. Huh. So do they just choose each other by default now, or do they both go home?
I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
I'm very excited for all of you.
Okay, yeah. So they just threw it out there for Marita and Britney to pair up. They didn't express any connection at all. I was hoping that one of them would say, well, I did feel the connection for sure. So yeah, let's go. But the way they are acting, it almost seems like they barely know each other. And Marita basically said that. She said that she zeroed in on AJ pretty quickly and stopped dating other people. So, But the pairings are pretty random. How much do you know of someone just from dating underneath the watch of cameras for just a few days? So, I suppose they have just as much chance of getting along as anybody else.
I've never had a bed this big.
This is like a California king. There's like so much room for activities.
I mean, I don't know if that's a reference to sex, but it also sounded like a reference to Step Brothers, which is one of my favorite movies, Oh my God, I think I might have even referenced that in one of my videos, like when I moved the tables, like, there's so much room for activities. Just think about anyway.
I just wanted to come clean with you and tell you, look, I've seen Britney twice and hung out with her, and I wanted to be transparent, clear.
Okay, so, all right. I'm glad that AJ is being honest. I wonder if Britney will be honest with Ashley. But yeah, so I haven't been showing, but Britney has been struggling throughout the process, even before choosing. But her first night with her new wife, Britney with Marita, right? So her first night, Britney was crying, and which is natural. It's overwhelming. I think some viewers might say to Britney, well, you chose to do this. You're the one that dragged AJ onto it. So, but I think it happens, and I think that it wouldn't be everyone's first choice, right? If we take them at their word, no one is coming on the show. The people that are the one giving the ultimatum is usually the one that's reaching out to the show, right? I mean, that's an assumption that maybe isn't true. At any rate, all 12 individuals signed on the dotted line. So to come on the show and to regret it or to struggle with the process, you'd think like, well, you did this to yourself. Why are you upset? This is what you chose. Well, I would say that, at least for the ultimatum givers, they would rather, if we take them at their word, get married, right? Or at least start moving down that road. So this show is a secondary choice. It's like the lesser of. They probably are also thinking about breaking up, right? Saying, if you're not going to move forward, I got to break. So this is the lesser of the evils, right? This is not their first choice, but not as bad as breaking up, right? So I don't fault Britney for struggling, and she isn't impeding the process, but maybe AJ would go into detail here, but AJ didn't seem to be struggling much. So I'm guessing that Britney reached out to AJ. AJ felt bad, and AJ doesn't want to lose Britney. So AJ agreed. That's just my guess. And okay, what do we think? Well, I'm guessing the show will frame it as like a huge sin because they're not handing themselves over to the process. And it really screws things up for production. I mean, imagine if everyone did this, it would be a waste of a season, and they would lose all this money and blah, blah, blah. And usually when you go against the process of the show, then the show punishes you with edits and with behind the scenes kind of stuff. I mean, not extreme, but, and there's threats of fining, but I don't think there's a likelihood of anyone ever being fined, but there's a threat anyway. So aside from that, though, because we can discount that, for Britney and AJ, the point of coming on the show is for clarification, right? That's the overall goal, to clarify, should the two of us get married, or should we break up, or should we continue the way that we were in limbo? And for some, they could follow the whole process and gain that clarification. Maybe for Britney, she's had enough experience to clarify for her, at the very least, that she doesn't want to be on the show, right? That it's too hard, it's too painful. And I don't blame him. I'm amazed that anyone in a legit relationship would do this, unless they are oriented toward polyamory at least a little bit, because for some people, it's a real impediment to imagine their partner being with someone else, and it would really eliminate the possibility of love growing or thriving, right? Whereas other people are just like, they got together with someone, and it was consensual and ethical, and I got together with someone else, and that's okay. It's just different spectrums anyway, and different relationships. I'm rambling. But maybe for Britney and AJ, this is all that they needed to clarify. Now, for Marie, it would really ruin the process for her. But I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I'm sorry. Moving forward like that, I just at least wanted to put it out there and let you know. From here on out, I'm completely invested and dedicated in this, and I want you to feel that and know that every single day.
Okay, if I were Marie, I would ask, so are you saying that's over now, that you're not going to meet up with Britney anymore? Or what are you saying? Kind of sounds like that's what AJ's saying.
I appreciate that. I mean, you're in charge of your own grief. You'll deal with it in whatever way that you think is manageable. I appreciate that, though.
And if there's anything that I can do that I'm not currently doing for you, I'd...
All right, so Marie verbally is saying she understands, but her body language says otherwise.
I feel like a fool, honestly.
I thought there was actually a connection there with AJ, and now I'm shutting down because I do not trust her.
Yeah, that's the way it looked, and that makes total sense. And that honestly might be what I would do given my way of dealing with situations like this, avoidantly, at least in a pinch. And also, like, I would think, what would be the point in arguing about this? What's done is done, and message received, kind of, right? There's a number of messages. One, it's essentially cheating, at the very least lying, because all AJ had to do was go to Marie and say, hey, I am struggling, and Britney, I don't know, AJ hasn't said why. I suspect Britney was the one that was reaching out, but who knows? Either way, AJ could have gone to Marie and said, hey, I'm really sorry, but for whatever, set of reasons, I have to meet up with Britney tonight, and I don't know what to do, so I'm so sorry, but I have to do this right now. Now, there would be a fallout from that, right? But it wouldn't involve deception and lies and carrying on as if, because AJ said twice, so it sounds like within a short period of time after they moved in together, Marie and AJ, there's been 2 moments. So it wasn't even just like, oop, one thing happened, because AJ could have come home and said it. It's like, how could you trust AJ? I think AJ's saying, I'm not going to do it anymore. AJ wasn't being super clear. But yeah, I would absolutely, if I were Marie, I would not trust, and AJ doesn't seem to be trying hard to reconcile. But maybe AJ will.
I've never felt so betrayed, and it's very lonely.
And I suppose this is fuel for the fire of the reductive conclusion that AJ is fake and a player or something. All right, I want to remind you all that we are coming up on our 17th anniversary 10-hour live stream on September 14th, I think it is, Saturday. And if you want to join us for that, also if you want to send packages and fan art, well, I always love fan art, and I put it up in my office. You might even be able to see some of it behind us. Anyway, you can find our mailing address on our website. It might even be in the description below, I'm not sure. But it's always great to get cards and stuff. We open it on the air. So, but join us for the live stream, and everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.